Carroll bringing it forward. Thompson's making the run. Carroll hangs on to it though. Still Davy Carroll. Could go all the way here. Oh, what a goal!
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Ringing the Blues, the official Wycombe Wanderers podcast in partnership with Virgin Media. On the show this week we have all the action and reaction from the Chairboys trip to take on Crawley Town in League One, plus Wycombe Wanderers fan and football journalist Tom Hancock joins us for Till Death Us Do Part. But before all of that, let's head to Mexico City for the full Liga One results with Uri.
We are ringing the blues from Mexico City. It's me, Uri, and here are the results for League One. Cambridge United 0, Exeter City 1, Northampton Town 0, Wrexham 2, Barnsley 1, Huddersfield Town 2, Birmingham City 1, Charlton Athletic 0, Blackpool 3, Mansfield Town 3, Bristol Rovers 3, Burton Albion 1, Crawley Town 1, Wycombe Wanderers 1, Leyton Orient 3, Lincoln City 2, Reading 2, Rotherham United 1, Shrewsbury Town 2, Bolton Wanderers 3, Stevenage 1, Peterborough United 1, Wigan Athletic 0, Stockport County 2. Wycombe are in a run of games against teams near the bottom of the table who are fighting for their lives. So, Chairboys Spanish this week, fighting for their lives. How do we say to fight? Pelear. Fighting, peleando. Lives, vidas. Their lives, sus vidas. Fighting for their lives, peleando por sus vidas. Okay, Wycombe, but still we are in the second place of the chart. Looking good. Back to England with mi amigo Filiberto Cachapollos. Until next week. Adios.
Cheers, Uri. Right then, Wycombe Wanderers headed round the M25 to take on Crawley Town. Here's what happened. Darcy Paniotu joined us on commentary.
Harvey cross comes into Udo. Udo gets across his man. Sets up for him nicely. That's a really good save from Willicott. Got down smartly to his right at the near post. And it's a bright start from Wycombe Wanderers. Dan Udo's in the mood. Radcliffe goes cross field. Swan heads the ball down. Little 1-2 edge of the box. Shot comes in and what a goal! Crawley have the lead with their first attack. And it is a marvellous strike from Will Swan with the outside of his right boot. The layoff was from Max Anderson, and it's a goal that Garath McCleary would have been proud of. Outside of the boot, curled past Will Norris into the top corner. Crawley's first attack, their first goal. Crawley Town 1, Wycombe Wanderers 0. That's a great goal for Crawley.
Incredible connection, Will Swan with his boot. Absolute rocket. Norris was not getting to that at all. It was an incredible goal, and it's come out of nowhere basically. The first attack for Crawley, and they've taken it well, and they're ahead.
They're struggling for height, Crawley, in terms of keeping lid on Bradley. Swan's been dealt with the task, and it goes in towards Bradley. Gets something on it. It's flicked on. What a save by Willicott. Onyedinma's header clawed away by Willicott. Brilliant save by the Crawley stopper. And Wycombe come again now. Udo, edge of the area, on his right. Shot charged down. It looked like Onyedinma's header was sailing in slow motion, but that is a fantastic save.
It was an incredible piece of goalkeeping by Willicott.
Now Skura takes over, looking for Udo. Udo's through on goal here. Cuts it back onto his left. It's opening up nicely and he scores! Dan Udo's been getting the goal he's been threatening. It's coming the 19th minute. Lovely ball forwards by Declan Skura. Udo, again a nuisance. And as calm as you like, found it onto his left foot. gave the keeper the eyes and strokes it into the top corner. It's Crawley 1, Wycombe 1. Great response, Darcy.
Such an incredible goal from Udo. He did well to keep the ball as he was up against Conroy one-on-one. He looked like he may have gone down from the pressure from his man, but did well to cut it back onto his left, and well taken, and a great equaliser for Wycombe, and they're back in it with plenty of time to go in this first half.
Wycombe have been knocking on the door even before they went 1-0 down, and Dan Udo certainly deserves that goal, doesn't he? Kodjura on the left wing, cuts in field. Ball down the channel, that's a great ball to Labala, who's in the box. Cuts it back, looking for Vokes, just behind the run of the striker, and also on Yadimra too. Was that the opportunity at the death there for Wycombe? I think it might have been. What do you reckon, Darcy? It was just behind the run of Vokes? Yeah,
and Onyedinma was the second one to have been the recipient of the ball. It was just past him as well. It was a great cut back from Labala.
I thought it was a really tough game, I'll be honest with you. There's a level of disappointment, of course there is, because we want to win every game of football, and we know what our objective is. But it might become the end of the season a big point for us. I felt we had the bigger moments in the game. I said at half time they didn't really have much in the first half apart from the boy, in the first 5 minutes, an unbelievable finish, and sometimes that happens, sometimes that happens in the game. I think what this point was, I felt we could have had a little bit more control. But then also sometimes you've got to reflect and say the opposition made it really hard for us. So it's not always being critical of the team and us, and sometimes you just got to go, okay, they made it really difficult for us. And like I said to them in the week, Wrexham was a last minute goal here. Birmingham only win by 1 goal. Obviously they won on Tuesday. It's a really, really difficult place to come. That being said, we've got really high standards, we've got really high expectations. So yeah, we dust ourselves off. We haven't got enough time to sulk or moan about it. Like I just said to the guys in there, we've got a big game on Tuesday to go and win.
We had some opportunities in that first half as well, and the keeper was certainly in inspired form in the first half for Crawley.
Yeah, I thought, without watching it back, my initial gut is we had 3 or 4 really good chances in the game. I think, as I said, it was an unbelievable finish for the first goal, and I think they've had one chance where Will had to make a decent save halfway through the first half, but apart from that, we limited them to very little. And one thing they have done here in particular, they've opened up teams, and they've been a really, really good in possession team. As I said, my disappointment is, can we gain a little bit more control? I felt it was really fast and frantic. But yeah, look, listen, we're disappointed. We're naturally disappointed. But there's also got to be an element of this is a really, really difficult place to come, and they're scrapping for their lives. So people just think just because where they are on the league table that it's a given. It's the opposite, if anything. That they're fighting to stay in this league, and I think you've seen that within the game.
Another debut today, this time for Simons off the bench as well, and several new players to assimilate into the starting lineup at some point.
Yeah, I thought Jav was very good when he came on. He brought a calmness to the game. He's going to be a big signing for us for the last 16 games. But they all will be, and I've said that to the group. We're going to have to keep replenishing and refreshing the squad. They're going to have to stick together, because if we achieve what we want to achieve, everyone benefits. So in the short term, it's not about individuals, it's about the collective.
We haven't seen Sam Vokes on the pitch in the league game for quite some time. He played his part in the interim spell with some coaching as well, but great to see him back out there on the pitch today.
Great guy. I've really, really taken to him. I think he's going to be really important for the group. I knew the game was going to be a little bit scrappy, and if you look at their results, they don't get beat heavily, so I knew there would be a potential where the last 5-10 minutes, there might be a moment where we can put the ball in the box and he can do what he does best. So that was obviously the thinking behind it. Maybe could have brought him on slightly earlier, but the game was so frantic. It's they're the decisions that you reflect upon in terms of did you make the wrong or right decisions. And
looking ahead to Tuesday, obviously you have a big squad at your disposal. Would we be expecting some rotation or some fresh legs in there? Yeah, potentially.
But I always try and focus on the next game. I don't try and think too far ahead. So we'll see how the lads recover in the next kind of 48 hours, and we'll make a decision from there.
Garath, we're expecting a tough game today, and we were disappointed in that respect.
Yeah, it was a really hard game. We knew coming here it was going to be tough. They're fighting for their lives, which whenever you're in that position, you know it's going to be hard. So yeah, credit to them. They limited us, especially up top, and they got their early goal, which was a worldie, to be honest. But yeah, we're still in a strong position. It's still, we got to keep positive.
I think I said on the commentary, it was a sort of a Garath McCleary type goal, wasn't it? Outside of the boot, from outside the area. You would have been proud of that one.
Yeah, it was a top goal. I think in the build-up we might have lost possession, so we're a bit disappointed in that. But you can't actually stop the finish, so we had to come from behind, and thanks to Dodds, obviously we've done that. It's just unlucky we couldn't get the second.
We started the game well and didn't panic at 1-0 down, and like you say, Dodds got the goal, but we had several opportunities and came up against an informed keeper by the look of it as well.
Yeah, it's safe from Fred's header, was top notch, but yeah, Dodds has been plugging away. He's doing really well in training, and thankfully he's got his goal, and we're all happy for him. But yeah, just roll on to Bristol on Tuesday. Obviously momentum, we haven't lost. We keep picking up points, so hopefully we can change this draw into a win on Tuesday.
We felt it a bit at Cambridge. We saw it again today, but teams down the bottom now, it's that time of the year where they really throw their bodies on the line.
Yeah, 100%. They do. They're fighting for their lives, as I said, but then also so we're fighting for a different cause. But we know every game's going to be tough, no matter if we're playing a team in the bottom or mid-table or at the top beside us. So we know every game's going to be hard, and yeah, we've got to go into everyone looking to win, but if we're not, just don't lose.
And 200 Wycombe appearances the other week, and I believe today another big milestone.
Is it? Is it? No, yeah. Yeah, my 600th game in club football. Yeah, so I think when I left Reading I was under 400, so I never would have thought I would have got anywhere near 6. I was happy to get to 5, and that was done 2 years ago. So to hit another 100 with this fantastic club is something that I'm really proud of.
And lots more to come, no doubt.
Lots more to come, hopefully. We'll see. Yeah, we'll be plugging away each game, hoping to get as many points as possible so we can all celebrate potentially at the end of the season. But yeah, hopefully there's a lot more, but we'll see.
Good to hear from head coach Mike Dodds and Garath McCleary, and congrats again to GMAC for 600 club appearances. Right then, what about the opposition fans? What did they make of the game? Well, here's the greatest hits from social media and the forums. It's the opposition view.
Sussex Dave.
Well done to the Crawley boys today. A good first half and a good point. Wycombe are a big, strong team, but they just pump long balls forward. It's not amazing football, but fair play to them. They were the more threatening team second half, but you really could not see the difference in league positions today. Come on, Crawley. Come on, you boys in red. We're making good signings and just need a bit more confidence.
Paul C 222.
A decent result, I feel. Although we started the second half looking like the more likely, Wycombe nullified us and looked to have more territorially, but we had a few moments that might have grabbed 3 points, and I thought we could have undone them had Amundo come on sooner. But this was probably a day to be pragmatic and keep it tight.
Light blue.
I had a great view of Woollicott's save in the first half. I thought it was incredible, as did those around me. He shouldn't have got anywhere near it. That was a magnificent goal from Swan, and he played well overall. But what a cheating, horrible team Wycombe were. I hadn't expected that of them. How the heck are they second top playing like that? A very decent result though. Well done, lads.
Elaine.
The referee bottled the second yellow card for Lowe just before half time. He should have been off. Oh, and Wycombe for promotion. Not on that performance.
We are free.
I didn't realise Wycombe was so brutal and direct. I thought they were up there for playing decent football. That wasn't the worst result for us, and I still think we will stay up. Just. Same fixture is coming next season, I reckon.
Nobby.
We should have met the force we were dished out today on a more like-for-like basis. We could have got away with taking a few of their players out, especially that number 12.
Frankfurter.
The pack is closing in on Wycombe. They will be very lucky to hang on to second. Playoffs at best come May.
Ben.
I would have taken a draw at the start of the day, given the massive difference in table positions. Now, I think it's a real shame, as it looked a very even game.
6GC TFC.
I thought the ref held the game back today, for both sides. He gave nothing in the middle of the field, but whistled for every soft foul in the final third. Oh, their defenders love a shirt pull too. But glad we got something from the game in the end, especially considering their league position.
Paul.
Wycombe gradually turned the screw, but without creating much in the way of clear-cut chances. But we might have got a fortunate 3 points had one of the occasional breakaways gone our way. However, I don't think either side will be too unhappy with the shared points today.
Tundra Cats.
Stunning goal and a great performance against ridiculously good opponents. Well done, Reds!
There's been a rumour that there's a new lightning-fast player in town, and I can confirm these rumours are correct. Virgin Media is here and is guaranteed to be a crowd pleaser. If you're tired of your broadband giving you the blues every time you want to do something, fear not. Virgin Media are right here in Wycombe and have brought their lightning-fast full fibre to the area to keep you entertained in between matches. Tuck into as many live sporting events, movies, games and tunes as your heart desires. Not forgetting our podcast with unlimited downloads on Virgin Media's intelligent Wi-Fi. All delivered at the speeds you need to keep the whole house happy. And the best part is, you don't need to wait until the next transfer window to make Virgin Media your favourite signing of the season. Find out more at virginmedia.com or drop into your local O2 store. New customers only, eligible Virgin Fibre areas only, subject to survey, network capacity and credit check. Supporting a football club is like a marriage. Your club is there for life through the good times and the bad. We ask Chairboys fans for their most cherished old memory, their current favourite player, the best borrowed player we've ever had, and for something blue, we talk club merchandise. Right, joining us this week, Wycombe Wanderers fan Tom Hancock. Tom, great to see you. How are you doing?
Doing well, Phil. Just ready for the run-in now. Feels quite early to be saying that, but we've got one focus, and I don't need to tell people what that is.
Exactly. The FA Cup has gone. We can put that aside for another season. It's all about the league. The cliche, concentrating on the league. At the time of us speaking, 17 games to go. And that is a long run-in, but an important one.
Yeah, or 16, I think, as Mike Dodds has been saying. I think he's been forgetting the Rotherham game, which admittedly I'd forgotten about until someone raised it yesterday. So if we can get away with playing 16 games and go up still, yeah, that'd be good.
I was taking it as in being optimistic and saying we'd get it done in 16 and then we could enjoy the final day of the season. Wouldn't that be nice?
I'm trying to think, when was the last time that we actually had it done? Well,
2017.
Well, 2018 Chesterfield game was penultimate weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah, and we had the sun shone at Adams Park and we beat Stevenage.
We did, 1-0.
There we are.
Yeah, we'll take it in 16. I have a feeling it's going to go, I don't know, these things seem to go down to the wire. I don't even think it's down to a 3-horse race. I think it's a 4-horse race. I think Stockport are still there. They've had good form recently. Orient were making a little run as well. So, yeah, I think unfortunately it's going to go to the wire. We've just got to be on the right side of that line come the last day. That's not me being pessimistic. That's just keep it. Wanted to stay excited.
Well, it's never ever done at Wycombe Wanderers. So, Tom, we should talk about you and your relationship with our wonderful club. Where did it all begin?
Almost 22 years ago to the day, actually. So, funnily enough, next Saturday's game against Wigan is 22 years on from my first ever game, which was also at home to Wigan. A very different Wigan, who were on the way up then. But I pulled the team sheet up from that game, actually. I think the thing that stood out to me at the time as seeming quite exotic, because to me, as how old was I then? 7. League One wasn't even called League One then, was it? It was still Division 2, but the same level. To see 2 Australians and 2 Canadians on the pitch. You had Frank Talia and Mark Rogers for Wycombe, and then John Phelan, Wigan goalkeeper actually, so both keepers, Aussie, and Jason DeVos. So all these names are coming back now. Enough on Wigan, but that's just, it was quite, I don't know, I guess as a kid maybe you kind of feel, if I was probably watching top level, my earliest football memories at England, so I was watching that level of football maybe 5-6 years old, and then started getting taken to Wycombe. And I think, my expectations were sort of different to the reality. And despite losing that game, obviously something got me hooked. And that was an interesting period, because I think most Wycombe fans will say end of the 2002-2003 season, like late Sanchez era, was not the greatest, most enjoyable time. We stayed up that season. I won't talk about the following season, which was my full season, but I didn't exactly begin at the most upwardly mobile time for the club, I suppose.
Well, it kind of prepares you, doesn't it? Because football's not all about, had you gone a couple of years previously, you'd have caught the FA Cup run and everything. But
exactly,
as you know now, football isn't all about the ups, is it?
No, and I suppose, talking of cup runs, I suppose my cup run then would have been the League Cup semi-run a few years later. That obviously felt like things went to a whole new level. You've got, the TV cameras there, you're playing Jose Mourinho's Chelsea, heavily rotated from what I remember, but there were still some big names in there. Jermaine Easter, obviously, just scoring for fun throughout that run. The less said about the second leg, the better. But again, even that as an experience, like someone like Andrei Shevchenko, who again to me was a Champions League player, and he would have been then, obviously. I think those early years were sort of almost just as you grow up and figure out how the pyramid and everything fits together, and where not learning your club's place, because I think that's a bit dismissive, but just realizing what an adventure you can go on. And even those first few years we had, relegation, runs to semis of the League Cup. In fact, we were yo-yoing a bit, weren't we, between Leagues 1 and League 2?
It's never dull at Wycombe.
Yeah, exactly.
What this club has done, though, for you is a gateway into football, because you've worked in football journalism now for a long time actually, and so would you say Wycombe was your gateway drug?
I don't know, actually. A bit similar to you in that I started out around music over football. I guess so. I guess that's always been there. That's always been the sort of tangible connection. But I've always liked, work-wise, I've always dealt with, well, not always, but mostly with like top level stuff. And it's nice to kind of keep this away from that. I don't think I could do what you do and work for the club. I don't know. You love it. I know you do. But I don't know. I think I'll always like going as a punter and just, not that I ever shout at the ref or anything, but stuff like that. It's a bit of a release, and that can be whether it's a pick me up when things aren't going well for you personally, or whether it's going brilliantly on the pitch this season. You just want to be there to be a part of it, without tempting fate.
There we are.
What could be our best ever season, really.
Who knows? Let's see what happens in the long running, which starts tomorrow as we speak at Crawley. Right, let's get stuck into the questions. Something old, Tom, your favourite ever Wycombe Wanderers memory. What is it?
I'll come back to the League Cup semi-run, actually. Again, for the reasons that I've said, it was just really putting the club on the map. And I think going to school surrounded, although I went to school in Wycombe, you're surrounded by Arsenal fans and Chelsea fans. And I mean, when I was little, I will admit that I was kind of a bit of had a Liverpool soft spot as well, which you grow out of at a certain point. That is long gone before anyone wants to start calling me a fraud. I think I challenge most fans to deny that they have a bigger team these days as well. Some of them probably do. In fact, I know some of them do. I won't name names. But that League Cup run really was just, putting the club on the map. And I think also, we've been on the map already with the FA Cup semi, but I suppose getting on the map since I'd started supporting and like being able to brag a bit and being, just getting that kind of national exposure, which we've obviously had at times since, kind of the way that we went up to the championship and underdog stories like that and one-off games. But it's just something about having, that exposure and being in the spotlight, which hopefully we can get again if we go up.
A rare night of high excitement for the wide-eyed football folk of High Wycombe. Just 30 miles west of London, but a world away from Chelsea, they're thrilled to welcome the big city millionaires to their small but beautifully appointed country retreat and for a place in a major final. Wycombe are only the second, fourth-tier club to make the League Cup semi-final, and their team is significantly different from that which drew with the first, Rochdale, here on Saturday. Regular centre-halves Williamson and Antwi return respectively from suspension and injury. Also included after a bout of flu, Stephen Oates, a League Cup winner with Leicester, and Jermaine Easter, who remains on track to become the first man in the history of the League Cup to score at every stage, right from the very first round. Long from Martin. Nicked on by Mooney. Here's Jermaine Easter! Equaliser! Every round, but none bigger than this! Wycombe Wanderers within a quarter of an hour of going to the bridge all square. Hilario's head is hung. Jermaine Easter, the man of every League Cup moment for Wycombe, flicked in by Mooney, steered in by Easter, and Adams Park is on its feet and dancing. What a finish it was! 6 rounds, 6 goals. And Paul Lambert is dancing like Mourinho.
Mourinho, I think, if I remember rightly, afterwards said he was happy with the 1-1 draw to take back to the bridge.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did. And I suppose, again, I can't speak with great authority on this because I wasn't there, but I suppose unlike the FA Cup semi-final, this was a game we actually hosted rather than being at a neutral venue. So it's a very different thing. But I think, having, I suppose there's a case for that being the biggest game at Adams Park. I'm not saying it was. That's subjective. There's been playoff games that have been, the MK playoff game felt massive as well in a different way a couple of years ago. But I think that, gave us a bit of belief. And Paul Lambert was not the most popular manager. I feel like I'm sort of gradually slagging off previous managers here, but he did give us that. That was a special season. I suppose a shame that we couldn't hold on to Jermaine Easter for longer than we did. But he's not the last player that we'll lose in that way.
And the special night at the Valley as well, because obviously Charlton, now we see them as our sparring partners in League One, but back then...
35 minutes played, and Jermaine Easter skipped onto Tommy Mooney's flick on, and that was it. It was a brilliant finish. At one end, delight, and at the other, the badge pointing had begun. The fans who had endured 2 heavy defeats in the Premier League now had no stomach for this.
Yeah, to me, I mean, that Charlton that season, was that the Les Reed era? Or was it? Yeah, it might have been. We'll have to double check that. Should know that. Obviously, you know, I think that they were obviously still top flight there, and I think they were sort of on a bit of a downward curve. But yeah, to me, they were, you know, half the clubs that are in League One now were decent Premier League clubs when I was really first starting to follow football. I mean, Birmingham, Bolton, Pompey until recently. So yeah, I think that gives you a lot of pride now, being on their level, having within living memory sort of been the underdogs in that fixture. It does show how far clubs have dropped, but also how far we've progressed to be playing them sort of, you know, on a regular basis. And yeah, it's just hopefully it can get even bigger.
We shall see. Right, let's move up to the current day. Favourite player in the current squad? It's a big squad to choose from,
You've got a tally of how many people have given you this answer. Well, I know there's no wrong answer, and it's obviously the King, Richard Kone.
I think this is only the second time that the King has been put in.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So you're still a trailblazer, Tom.
Yeah, I wasn't going to go left field for the sake of it. It's just, I don't know. I think the story is a big part of it, but you know, his record speaks for itself as well. I mean, I'm quite into all the stats, well, very into all that, as you know, and I mean, he's finishing pretty much as well as anyone in the EFL this season, and it is hard to compare across divisions, but there's no surprise that there was interest from a certain club in him in January, and yeah, he's just it's ridiculous, really, how I was right behind the goal for his goal at Wealdstone, and I think that's when I kind of first realised, hang on a minute, he's just a force now. Like the physicality, he's done it multiple times. He did it when he came on against Northampton and basically ran half the length of the pitch, just like knocking players over, NFL style. And I don't know, he genuinely does seem to improve week by week, and it's just amazing to see a player like improve that, obviously. And yeah, I think he's got another hat-trick or two in him this season. And he's obviously well placed to finish as top scorer.
Which is very exciting for a lot of Wycombe fans who may well have backed him in the summer.
I mean, I think he'd be the first to get 20 in a league season since Bevan, I think I'm right in saying.
Yeah.
Well, I can't remember if Bevan finished as top scorer in the league that season. Obviously, he was our top scorer.
I think getting past the 20 mark is huge for Wycombe Wanderers. We haven't done it for a long time since Stuart Bevan. No. Bayo got close a couple of times.
Tyson possibly went close. Did he actually do it? McLeish did in League Two. But yeah, Kone's 1 of 20 in all competitions and not many off in the league. And I think when, you know, he's ahead of a 10, 15 million pound player in Jace Stansfield. Louis Barry obviously can't touch him now because he's no longer in the league. And just need to get him back on the pitch.
Yes.
But yeah, I'll back him to do it. It's just amazing to watch. And I think we've got to enjoy him while we can, which is hopefully for longer than a lot of us are fearing. We shall see.
How exciting is it knowing that he's wearing the quarters week in, week out, but he's our player. He's not a loanee. This isn't someone that we give back to a bigger team. This is our player. This is someone we've taken from obscurity into the limelight.
Which makes it even better. And we've had good players. I mean, I suppose the similarities with Mehmeti, albeit he'd been in top-level academies. Kone obviously has come from a completely different background and really has just... It is rags to riches, really, isn't it? It's the kind of progression you want to see in a player as a fan, and the kind of player I think fans can, you know, really identify with and you especially want them to do well.
How did you feel when the transfer
that's
window closed? Obviously, we'd signed a lot of players, but the fact that Richard and Joe Lowe were still Wycombe players, how big was that?
Well, I think I was so preoccupied with keeping hold of Kone by the end, I'd forgotten that Joe Lowe had been linked with leaving. That's massive. And Caleb Taylor coming back as well. Like that was probably as special to end it with a player. That I'm sure that's happened before. I can't remember an example though where the loanee is gone and has returned at the end of the window. Yeah, I think that's a massive bonus. And yeah, it's weird because I think a few years ago, let's be realistic, we'd have lost him in January. So I think it's just testament to how much the club has changed and where we're at now that we can just bat away these offers. Yeah. But as I say, let's just hope he's actually back on the pitch soon because he's missed, a couple of games now.
We shall see. We shall see. Right, on to something borrowed. This could be your favourite ever loanee or player you wish we'd signed but never did or never have.
Again, that's going to have to be Eze.
Great.
I think just you could tell. I mean, the moment for me, I don't know how late in his loan spell it was. Obviously, it wasn't that long overall, but the Crawley game where we got a couple of goals and he had that run where probably one unfortunate touch stopped him scoring a hat-trick, which would have been one of the best ever goals at Adams Park, probably. I think for individual brilliance, and you could tell, because when he came to us, I don't think he'd made his QPR debut yet. He obviously then went back there and went straight into the first team, but you know, that really was a coming-of-age loan spell, and no one's surprised that he's gone to the level he's gone to the Palace in the Premier League and to the Euros with England. And I think he's been a little bit unlucky with injuries recently, but he's still young enough to get a move to another level. But yeah, just watching him play was just, you just knew special things were going to happen. Obviously, his 2 goals at Cambridge, the 2 that really stick out. Annoyingly, at that time, I think, when was it? I think, he'll correct me if I'm wrong on this. My brother, I think, was away at uni at the time, so wasn't getting to many games. And the first time he actually got to see Eze play was probably the one anonymous game that he had, which was away at Stevenage, freezing cold, the game where Scott Brown scored from a goal kick. But yeah, it was like the only time where I think I remember Eze just not really doing anything. I couldn't blame him. It was the coldest game I think I've been to in my life. But yeah, no, I think he's come round now and realises, yeah, okay, this guy's pretty special.
Absolutely. What was lovely, though, was that he signed and then we didn't see him for 4 weeks because obviously back then Gaz and Dobbo had to do their thing on the training ground and say, look, you know, you can clearly play. We can't teach you what to do with the ball. But what we can teach you is how to assimilate yourself into a League One team and do the necessary dirty work. And that's really stood him in good stead, hasn't it?
What's worrying is I don't actually remember that delay, and that wasn't even that long ago. So, yeah. I'll tell you a word for it. Yeah, no, it has. And I think, as I say, like, he has been a little bit unlucky with injuries the last couple of seasons, but there's obviously been talk of him moving. I think Spurs were linked. I mean, most of the top, I can't really call Spurs a top 6 club at the moment, but you know what I mean. But yeah, I think there's another level there that he will go to, and I suppose there's a difference between kind of. I think there's always a difference between your greatest ever player and your best ever player. And arguably, in terms of the level he's gone to, in terms of the quality he showed when he was here, you could call him the best player for ability. Greatest is a different matter. I'm not going to go there because I'll be here all day. But yeah, in terms of ability and his potential and how he's fulfilled it, I mean, I don't think anyone really comes. Maybe Stephen Taylor sort of back in the day, Mike Williamson, I suppose. But yeah, Eze's was obviously a special player.
But because he was an attacker, you know, those 2 players you mentioned are great defenders. But I don't know, I may split the room on this, but when I used to pay money to watch football, I want to see people drop a shoulder, beat a man, do something unbelievable with the ball. And as much as I like watching good defending, it doesn't get me out of my seat.
No, it's true. And that's probably why only one defender has ever won the Ballon d'Or. And I won't tell you who. There you go. That can be a bonus quiz question for people listening. Yeah, no, you're right. That's why we love watching Anis Mehmeti and Humphreys this season. I think he's an unbelievable player and will play Premier League football in the next couple of years. Yeah, he's a special talent as well.
There we are. People will be talking about Cameron Humphreys on this feature in the next few years. I'm pretty sure of that too.
Hopefully, yeah.
There we are. Well, it's another entry for Eberechi Eze into the Till Death Us Do Part Hall of Fame, and another worthwhile one as well. In fact, they all are. Right, on to the final question then. Something blue. What should the club shop be selling that it currently isn't, Tom?
Well, I think the club shop would need to have a bit of a refurb to do this, because I don't think they've got a chilled section, but light and dark blue cheese.
Wow.
I mean, I'm far. I mean, yeah, we all love. Okay, we don't all love cheese. I don't trust people who don't love cheese, but I love cheese. If you're lactose intolerant, that's not aimed at you. That's unfortunate, and I do feel for you. Yeah, I think it's there. It's a great branding opportunity, and you can, if it's one of those sort of round cheeses, you can have the badge on the top like they do on the pies, or they used to do on the pies in the ground. Blue rind, you could probably do that. I mean, you can have red rind, can't you?
You can even have a retro section and have Wycombe Wanderers Cheese Wright. We all remember John Cheese Wright, the goalkeeper.
I know the name. I think it's before your time. There'll be slightly older Wycombe fans now, perhaps running for the hills, shuddering at the mere mention of John Cheese Wright. And I just remember the chant, "Cheesy, right, right, right." I don't want to hear that ever again. There's a oh god. Speaking of goalkeepers and sandwich fillings, actually I can't mention that. I can't swear on here, can I? Just Google Elliot Justham, and you've probably heard the chant anyway.
I've seen. And there's Dave Besson who famously dropped a bottle of salad cream on his foot and broke his toe. Yeah. There's goalkeepers and this could be another podcast altogether, Tom.
That's the point, actually. You can get blue cheese salad dressing, can't you? So there you go. The range has already expanded.
Wanderers cheese. I like this. This could be excellent. What better way to toast a successful season than a cheese and wine party at Adams Park with our very own cheese?
You know what you could do? You could roll it down the hill where the car park is and just have the Gloucestershire. Is it Gloucestershire or Wiltshire where they do the cheese rolling thing? Yeah,
one of the weirdest national pastimes, I think, where even sort of people from overseas come and watch and go, what is going on?
It's on the bucket list. When I no longer leave my ACL, I'll have a go.
Yeah, obviously no current players would be able to take part in the cheese rolling down the car park, the world famous car park as well. What a venue for it! It's incredibly dangerous. Yeah.
I'm just imagining someone like Bayo participating in a Adams Park cheese roll. Yeah, that'd be carnage. I think they've got a.
So we've got a new line of merchandise and cheese. We've got a new event, which is the Adams Park cheese rolling in the world famous car park. I mean, this has opened up a whole new commercial avenue, Tom.
I mean, pretty much entertainment stuff here. Paratrooper, who were the guy? Yeah, there was it paratroopers or some sort of aerial displayists that landed on the pitch in the Martin O'Neill era and
this is
impressed.
The match ball delivered by someone jumping out of a plane, landing onto the Adams Park pitch in a parachute. Due to weird wind conditions, he arrived a bit late and delayed kickoff, which meant that the parachutist was met by a rather irate Martin O'Neill, which is in Wycombe folklore now, which is, again, incredibly Wycombe and incredibly brilliant all at the same time.
Yeah. Actually, that's a great, very niche memory, actually. Only a few years ago, when they did an announcement on the big screen of someone having left the handbrake off in the car park.
Ah, yes.
And I think they tweeted afterwards that someone had gone and put a traffic cone behind the rear wheel to stop it from like you say, that car park is world famous. Never a dull moment.
Exactly. The beauties of being a Wycombe Wanderers fan. There we are. Well, I look forward to both the light and the dark blue cheese being available at Adams Park very, very soon. What a wonderful world that would be. There we are.
Get on to them about that. Yeah.
Well, Tom, it's been a pleasure to talk through your Wycombe memories and your relationship with our club. Where can our watchers and listeners find your work, your excellent written work? Where can you be found?
Oh, Albert, I'm doing a lot of stuff for 442, the Premier League these days. Yeah, they're the main two at the moment. So have a stalk.
Good stuff. Well, Tom, we'll see you at Adams Park soon, and let's enjoy the running as long as it is.
Nice one, Phil. Thank you.
Man. Right, that's it for this week's episode of Ringing the Blues in partnership with Virgin Media. We'll be back next week with news of our home game against Wigan Athletic. Hopefully see you there, and come on you Blues.